Nikita Michenko from Bryansk is a soldier of the Chechen battalion Akhmat. He fought against Ukraine in 2015 to 2016. After returning from the front, he got a job at the Bryansk regional blood transfusion station. On one of the working days, Michenko made a moulage of an explosive device and allegedly mined a work vehicle. He was sentenced to 1.5 years of correctional labor and then 3 more times brought to administrative responsibility for incitement of hatred or enmity. In autumn 2021, he was added to the so-called list of extremists created by Federal Monitoring Service. Michenko received another conviction in winter of 2022, and a few months later, he disappeared from the list of extremists despite the lack of grounds. The reason for this decision apparently was the militants' participation in a full-scale war against Ukraine.
To expunge a criminal record, you need to file an appropriate petition with the court, which decides whether to grant or deny it. Information on this category of cases must be published on the websites of the courts. It is not in the exception. Also, a criminal record can be removed by amnesty or pardon, but decreases on pardon may not be published, which is actively done in the framework of pardoning convicts who fought in Ukraine.
There are dozens of people like Michenko in Russia. Russians convicted under articles on extremism and terrorism have to become soldiers to disappear from the list. Politicians and public figures whose statements contradict with the Kremlin's official policy are included in the list by the fact of their existence.
Along with real terrorists, opposition politician Alexei Navalny and his lawyers, political scientist Boris Kremlin, journalist Abdul Munin Hadjiyev, comedian Yuri Khovansky, physicist Andrei Zayakin and blogger Ruslan Sokolovsky have appeared on the list in different years. After the outbreak of the war, residents of the Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine began to be added to the list. Journalists, officials, Ukrainian military and residents opposing the occupation, from the publication of the Russian edition Verstka.
Representatives of the LGBTQ+ community have also turned out to be extremists in Russia. The Supreme Court of the aggressor country issued such a decision on November 30th. Child-free people are apparently next in line. A number of regions have already legalized the ban on abortion in private clinics. This way, Russian authorities have declared that systematic discrimination against a part of the country's population is the new norm.
In fact, the Russian authorities have one task: to keep the population in fear, and these repressive norms allow them to do it. We see that prisons are emptying out, that convicts are being sent to war for slaughter. But where to put the apparatus of the Federal Penitentiary Service? You can't just let these people go home. Accordingly, prisons must be filled with someone. Now there is no need to introduce any separate norms. It is enough just to call them extremists, and under this case, all those who do not want to go to prison.
In Russia, not those who may be dangerous to society, but those who threaten the Kremlin's regime are brought to justice, lawyers say, and the courts have turned from an instance of justice into state organs of repression. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Valeria Nikipelova, UATV News.